Tonight's highlights. U.S. sends 2 warships through Taiwan Strait. Churchill portrait swapped with copy. San Diego Zoo welcomes birth of adorable white rhino calf. Elena Rybakina feels like she's not the Wimbledon champion. 2 United States Navy warships have entered the Taiwan Strait in what is the first U.S. naval transit in the waterways since U.S.-China tensions spiked this month over a visit to the island by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The guided missile cruisers USS Antietam and USS Chancellorsville were on Sunday making the voyage through waters where high seas freedoms of navigation and overflight apply in accordance with international law, the U.S. 7th Fleet in Japan said in a statement. It said the transit was ongoing and that there had been no interference from foreign military forces so far. These ships are transiting through a corridor in the strait that is beyond the territorial sea of any coastal state. The ship's transit through the Taiwan Strait demonstrates the United States' commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. The United States military flies, sails, and operates anywhere international law allows, it said. The Chinese military's Eastern Theater Command said it was monitoring the 2 ships, maintaining a high alert and was ready to thwart any provocation. The strait is a 110-mile, 180-kilometer stretch of water that separates the democratic self-ruled island of Taiwan from mainland China. Beijing claims sovereignty over Taiwan despite China's ruling Communist Party never having controlled the island, and considers the strait part of its internal waters. The U.S. Navy, however, says most of the strait is in international waters. The Navy cites an international law that defines territorial waters as extending 12 nautical miles, 22.2 kilometers, from a country's coastline and regularly sends its warships through the strait in what it calls freedom of navigation operations, including recent voyages by the guided missile destroyers USS Benfold and USS Port Royal. Famous Churchill portrait swapped. Famous portrait of World War II-era British Prime Minister Winston Churchill was stolen from an Ottawa hotel and replaced with a copy without staff noticing for months. It took officials at the Fairmont Chateau Laurier Hotel at least 8 months before they realized the photograph, which may be worth more than $100,000, had been swapped. "We are deeply saddened by this brazen act," Hotel General Manager Genevieve Dumas wrote in a Facebook post. The hotel is incredibly proud to house this stunning Karsh collection, which was securely installed in 1998. The portrait, created by Canadian photographer Yusuf Karsh in 1941, is one of the most widely reproduced images in the history of photography. According to Karsh's website, in 2016, the photo became the face of the Bank of England's £5 note. The original hung in the Chateau Laurier Hotel until a date officials believe likely ranged between December 25, 2021, and January 6, 2022, the hotel's general manager Genevieve Dumas told Last Weekend, hotel employees noticed the photograph was hung improperly, and the frame didn't match the others in the space, CTV reported. Hotel officials then used photos sent in by the public to help establish when the original portrait and frame was switched out. The Chateau Laurier Hotel's marketing director told CNN an investigation into the portrait's disappearance is ongoing. The theft was likely an inside job, Robert Whitman, a former art crime investigator with the FBI, told CTV. So usually when a situation like this occurs, it's not a shoplifting, it's not just a burglary, it's someone from the inside who had access, who knew what they were looking for, knew what the security measures were that were protecting the peace and that they were able to defeat those measures because they had inside information, Whitman told CTV. The beloved black and white photograph captures Churchill scowling moments after Karsh plucked a cigar from the Prime Minister's mouth to snap the shot. An adorable baby white rhino was born at the San Diego Zoo, and conservationists hope his birth might signal good news for his endangered cousins. The unnamed rhino calf was born on August 6 to first-time mother Livia and father Jay Gregory, according to a news release from the San Diego Zoo. The baby is healthy, confident and full of energy, the zoo staff says, adding, Livia is an excellent mother, very attentive and protective of her offspring. There are around 10,000 southern white rhinos in the wild, according to the Yukon. But it's a far different story for the species' northern cousins, whose population has been devastated by poaching for their horns and other body parts. There are just 2 northern white rhinos left, a mother-daughter pair living in a conservancy in Kenya. Neither have been able to carry a pregnancy to term. That's where Livia, the San Diego Zoo's newborn calf's mother, comes in. Her successful pregnancy means that she may be a candidate to carry a northern white rhino embryo in the future. Elena Rybakina feels like she's not the Wimbledon champion. Just weeks ago, Elena Rybakina claimed arguably the most sought-after accolade in tennis, becoming a Wimbledon winner. However, despite her momentous first Grand Slam victory in London in July, she describes her experience as a Wimbledon champion as not the greatest, saying she feels like she's not the Wimbledon champion. Rybakina's frustrations come after world ranking points were not awarded at Wimbledon this year in response to the tournament organizers' decision to ban Russian and Belarusian players in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Typically, Rybakina's world ranking would have skyrocketed after winning Wimbledon. She would have been expected to crack the top 10 in another year. However, the 23-year-old has fallen to no. 25 in the world. And speaking ahead of the US Open, which begins on Monday, Kazakhstani Rybakina expressed her unhappiness at life since her maiden Grand Slam victory. "It was my dream to win Wimbledon," Rybakina told reporters in New York on Friday. "It's a pity. I feel like actually I'm not the Wimbledon champion." She added, "I don't think that it's fair. Of course, we cannot change it. It was a decision made before. I'm talking not only about myself, but just generally I think with all the decisions, many players are paying for all these decisions. In one tournament I go and play against the greatest champion, Gerbinye, Muguruza, and we play on court no. 4. This is kind of like a question for me." She also lamented how her time as a Grand Slam winner hasn't matched others in the past, explaining that if ranking points were awarded and she would have risen into the top 10, she would have been treated differently, playing on better courts and being scheduled more favorably. "Experience-wise, I would say it was not the greatest." Rybakina, who was born in Russia but has represented Kazakhstan since 2018, shocked the tennis community by beating no. 3 seed Ons Jabeur in the Wimbledon final last month. And while she became Kazakhstan's first Grand Slam winner, the ban on ranking points meant she missed out on 2,000 points for the WTA's Race to the Finals, women's tennis season-ending event, where she would sit second if she had received them. The top 8 qualify for the finals, but Rybakina currently ranks 20th before the US Open, leaving her an uphill battle to make the event in October. Rybakina returns a shot against Jabeur in the Wimbledon final. "It's everything around. It's the point situation. I don't think that it's fair," Rybakina said. "Knowing that as of today I would be number 2 in the race and I'm not able to play the race, I don't think it's fair. I'm talking not only about myself, but just generally I think with all the decisions, many players are paying for all these decisions." Rybakina, the no. 25 seed for the US Open, begins her attempt to win back-to-back Grand Slam titles on Tuesday, playing France's Clara Burel in the first round. All the best. Have a great night.